So this morning when I was at the gym, I was feeling super ambitious, so I tweeted this out. I gotta be completely honest with you. That shit is not going up at 6:30 or 1:30 my time. So I'm gonna owe a lot of people a lot of money. So get down in the comments if you want a home, a Richard Mille, Rolls Royce, whatever you want. But my explanation for it. I also tweeted this yesterday. Now it just looks like a normal tweet, right? But let's zoom in on the important parts. 5 p.m. beers. 1 turned to 2, 2 turned into 3, and 3 turned into, Now, that's why I'm here now, late. Sorry about that. Welcome into the channel. What is going on, people? We are going to match preview Coventry versus Portsmouth today. The mighty Portsmouth at home specifically. They've pulled a lot of really good results. Let's talk through what we need to do to win, how they're going to play, how I think we'll line up, and then at the end, I will give my prediction. Thank you all for the support on the channel. Please subscribe if you are new. Also, get down in the comments. Let me know your score prediction. If you get it right, you will get absolutely nothing from me. Nah, maybe I'll add it to the 50,000 people that I owe a pint when I come to the CBS in January. Anyways, let's get into it. By the way, if you're asking yourself, what the hell am I wearing? This is a Carolina Panthers jersey. Why am I wearing that? Next weekend, I'm going to North Carolina, and guess what? Charlotte FC have a home playoff game that Friday night, so I'm going to go there. Little skill-based matchmaking. You guys saw my Buffalo Bills TikTok asking people about Coventry City. I'm going to ask people there if they can identify and just questions about Coventry City. So also get down in the comments. Let me know what you think I should ask people when I am there on Friday night. Hopefully by then, Cov have 25 points, and this is all going to be in the back burners. We're moving on to Watford, but we need to talk about who Portsmouth are as a team. Despite their good results, they sit 14th in the table. Now listen, they've scored 9 goals this season, 11.5 XG, pretty mid to below average XG in goals wise. They sit 21st in the league in total goals. With that 11.5 XG, you could say pretty fair what they've received. Sometimes you overperform XG, sometimes you underperform it. We've seen both sides of it. We saw it yesterday. Blackburn had an XG of 1.02. Did they score? No. Why? Because Carl Rushworth is an absolute god. They're 14th in possession with 48.9, so similar to Blackburn, just sitting below the mean of 50%. 22nd in shots on target per game. They average 2.1 shots on target per game. That is very, very poor. However, they still have managed 9 goals, so what does that tell you? Put the brain power to work. Clinical finishers. We saw it yesterday with Leicester City. We'll get into that. Couple more stats. 4th most accurate long balls and crosses per game. That gives you their play style to a T. You don't need to watch them to know. Long balls, crosses. They're going to try to go from back to front quick. How do they do that? They do that with their center backs and their defensive midfielders. Their double pivot of Pack and Dazzle, 2 players that sit behind the center attacking mid and the forwards. They have attempted the most passes on the team other than the center backs. They have attempted the most long balls. They have made the most progressive passes in the team. So that kind of just goes and gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. They're going to try to move it forward very, very quick. Will it work? Hopefully not. I think that the way that our team is lined up with Grimes sitting super deep, sometimes in between, splitting the center backs, and Jay Da Silva and Milan Van Ewij sort of pushing up, that's something to be a little bit concerned about. I know we saw it early in the game against Blackburn. They were sort of getting hung out to dry, but they made adjustments in the second half. So hopefully they're aware of that and they don't get beat over the top, as they were getting beat over the top a little bit in the first half of yesterday's match. Now, there's 3 games that Portsmouth have played this season that I want to highlight. I'm not going to look at the derby against Southampton. That was just a classic derby match. This is the first one right here. You can see it on the screen already. Their home form is definitely the most worrisome thing going into this game. Like I said, you can see that they're sitting, mid to bottom table, 3 wins, 3 losses, but they have 2 big wins at home against bigger teams such as Preston North End, who just slipped out of the playoffs after yesterday, and also Middlesbrough, who look just as good as Coventry at the top of the table after beating Ipswich. Now let's look back at this game. You can see it on this little graph right here. Portsmouth were able to absorb pressure very, very... Cons of living in a city. Portsmouth were able to absorb pressure very, very well in this game. They were okay not having the ball, and they were very clinical. You can see they still managed 10 shots and 1.58 XG in this game with that 1-0 win, despite not seeing a lot of the ball. Obviously, possession isn't key to winning games. Just a little fun tidbit that I like to throw in there. See this right here? Average possession. Look at the 2 teams with the most average possession in the league. Southampton at nearly 60% and Birmingham City at nearly 60% as well. And look at them in the table. Possession does not equal wins. You have to have possession that is meaningful. Passing backwards and side to side does not equate to winning football matches. It's more important about what you do with the possession. Anyways, any opportunity I can to dunk on that fan base. So they were able to absorb pressure in this game. We saw it yesterday against Leicester City. Another game that I want to just show real quick because it paints the same exact story. Also a home match earlier this season. Right before the last international break, the game that allowed Coventry to go top of the table. Now, same exact story here. You can see the red absolutely outweighs the blue. 62% possession to 38%. 200 less passes. They were okay being behind the ball and defending, even at their home. The team was together, the crowd was behind them, and they knew that they were going to be clinical on the counterattack. Now, stats are all fine and dandy. We could look at stats all day. You know, I've been incorporating a lot of stats recently because it just helps paint a picture and just give you an idea of what to expect. You also need to look at other things. The eye test. You need to watch them play. I watched their game against Leicester City yesterday. It was a very similar affair to these. It was at King Power, so maybe it'll be a little skewed possession, but Leicester held 56% possession. They had more XG. Portsmouth were okay with sitting back and letting them attack. They knew that they were able to defend that final ball from Leicester, which they've been lacking all season, to be fair. But apply this to any gameplay. Portsmouth are okay not having the ball, but they get from back to front super quick. When they got their equalizer in the second half, it looked like they were miles out of the game. It looked like Leicester were going to go and score 2 or 3 goals. But what had happened was they picked a ball off of, I believe, Manga, maybe 2 passes down into the other box. Goal, really good finish from Swift, and they equalized. And then they just employed the same exact game plan, just sat back and defend, absorbed that pressure. So the possibility of this being a very frustrating team and a frustrating fixture is very, very high. It is going to be tough to break them down. Coventry City are top of the table. Everyone is talking about them. There is a target on their backs now. So every team we saw with Blackburn is going to go that extra mile and have that little extra surge in the 75th minute on, get that second win, because they are probably salivating at the thought of being able to take down the team that has not lost yet this season. So this is going to be a very, very tough game. Coventry go in near full strength. You know, obviously we've been without Eccles and Radoni for a little bit. Radoni was at the NFL football game today. I think it's safe to say he will not be playing against Portsmouth. We already knew that. But lineup-wise, let me show you what I think we do. Pulled up the match sheet from yesterday. We need to go with the same exact lineup. It's picking itself at this point until players get back healthy in the squad. Eccles is not fit. Jack Radoni is not fit. Everyone has been firing. Haji was a little lackluster yesterday, but you know, you back it up to the international break hangover. Potchonomics, I called it. Sachs has been underwhelming on the attack, but he's all that we've got over there. And also, his play off the ball, his work rate makes up for it, especially with someone like Milan Van Ewijk, who, as we know, is super involved in the attacking game. Maybe he's not always going to be able to get back. Sachs is there, and can these ads stop popping up to back him up? Anyways, that's the team we got to go with. That's the team we will go with in a tough away fixture where I do think that we will end up getting the 3 points. So obviously that's going to take me into the prediction of the game. I think it's going to be a tight game. There's no question. They're a good team, especially at home, but we are a better team at the end of the day. And we saw it yesterday. We've seen it a couple times throughout the season against Birmingham City. Even on the day where maybe you don't come out your best, you still find a way to get the job done. Whether we come out flat, whether we come out firing, I'm looking at a 1-0 victory in this game. A nail biter. It's going to be tough. As long as we can contain those counterattacks from Portsmouth, we will go for another clean sheet. I believe that's the 6th one in a row. But everyone needs to be aligned, and everyone needs to make sure that we do not let them go from back to front super quick. The boys at the front need to be on their game with the pressing, which I know they will be. Brandon Thomas Asante is shot out of a cannon. By the way, his knee slides are absolutely impeccable. I'm hoping we get to see him do another one right in the away corner with all the fans that traveled, the lovely traveling fans. Hopefully Haji Wright is back to 100% fitness. EMC always looks like he's grabbing at something. He's fit. He's quick. Socks obviously does all the off-ball work. I'm never even having a doubt of being worried about his pressing. But if we can press hard on the front hand, we can then take the pressure off of our team. You know, we don't want to have to sit back like we did in the first half against Blackburn. And ultimately, I think this attack is good enough to break down even a low block. I mean, pretty much every team at some point has had a low block against us. They know what they're dealing with. We are able to score in so many different ways. Crossing, fast breaks, you know, all of that jazz. Victor Torp, free kick, bangers. Victor Torp only scores bangers, as we know. So that is my pregame analysis breakdown. I'm going with the 1-0 to Coventry. Take them up to 25 points. Keep building that gap between us and Middlesbrough, who likely are going to get another 3 points as they're playing against Sheffield Wednesday, who are going to have an 18-year-old keeper playing his first professional match ever. But hey, it's the opportunity to make a name for himself right there. So you never know with that. You never know with this. But hopefully we're returning for my post-match with a 1-0 victory or more. Or more, why not? How about 5? Why don't we take 5? I'll take 5. Why not? So, also, I'll be doing a TikTok live watch along. So, at Joner Fat Cats is my new TikTok because I changed my username. You know, the whole debacle. So, anyways, thanks a lot. Please subscribe if you're still here. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts, your predictions for this game. And peace.